One of the things that seems pretty certain is that the recession talk is going to go higher. The threat of layoffs are going to go higher, whether it's you're in the federal government or maybe you're in tech or accounting or marketing, and AI is a threat. These are realities that we are unfortunately going to have for the foreseeable future. One of the things that I have seen and read historically is in recessions, lots of people start small businesses. Some folks buy franchises, maybe they buy vending, but I think we need to have that discussion right now, because if you're nervous, maybe the right answer is to create a plan B. And there's lots of different models that you could put in, maybe hire a manager if you are employed and then take that role if not. But Bo, I'm curious, in the small business arena, what happens in a recession? What has been your experience?
I would say that I do feel like something is happening in the economy. And I think we always need to be prepared. And being prepared means having reserves. Being prepared means being able to pivot. Like, I'm never one to sit around and like wait, because sitting around and waiting, you're just going to I've got 5 flips going and then all of a sudden it crashes. I have no reserves. You're going to get ruined that way. Now, granted, you can pick yourself up. I've done it because that happened to me in 2007. But we got to be prepared. And what I'm doing is I'm preparing ongoing. I never stop preparing. So I'm always building. And so I'd say, everybody, let's build together. And that means doubling down on things that you want to grow, right? You want to grow your real estate portfolio. That means you're doubling down. You're getting ready for more opportunities, because when there's pain in the market, there's going to be opportunities. So what am I seeing? I'm seeing people get displaced because of AI. I've been seeing not a ton, but it is happening more so. And I believe that will continue, because some people say, oh, well, AI is not going to be that big. Well, I would put money on it that it's going to be that big. And it's going to create more jobs than it loses, but there's going to be pain. So the people that are understanding what that looks like for them, how do they create value in the market? Creating value in the market is learning how to operate AI to help you in business. Like, I've done a lot of that lately. It's just like, it's night and day what I can do in a 10-minute period, which used to take me 3 hours. So what can you do in learning these basic skills are going to help you. I mean, you can do real estate investing. You could have bots that respond to people when you send flyers, and hey, they text you. I saw you sent me a flyer. I'm interested in selling my house. You could have AI communicating. So it's 24/7. So I think there's a lot you can do. What I would be doing right now is building cash flow. And I think you can do that through owning certain businesses. We always talk about vending, the gateway to financial freedom. And I truly believe, if you really look at, if you're limited funds and you had 100, you were looking at an investment, and I could buy 10 vending machines for 100 grand and I could finance 90,000 of it. And I did my numbers and my homework, and I could get the machines placed in high traffic locations. That would be a great first investment, because you're going to potentially spit off a lot more cash flow than putting that $10,000 down payment on a house. You can't get a house for that much. So I think there's all those things and more, and then understanding the tax component of it. Like, how does things work? How do I keep more cash flow? If you're making $250 a year in tech, how do you keep more of that? You got to have these offsets. So I think you have to double down on all that stuff. And I would say, when everybody's running because they're scared and they don't know what to do, is usually a best time to be an investor in something. And that's what I kind of see.
I think there's a couple of pearls in there I want to poke at a little bit. First, I'll go to the second one, the last thing you talked about first, and that is absolutely right. It's funny to me, having been through several of these now. Lots of people talk a good game, but when the shit hits the fan and the opportunities are there, they just don't pull the trigger, right? Because again, the other thing you got to know about history is recessions are normal. every 8 to 15 years, 14 years, they happen. On average, they last between 9 and 18 months. So let's call it 3 to 6 quarters. And that, real wealth could be made in those 3 to 6 quarters. The other thing that I find interesting is, kind of spreading your risk, right? One of the things I think about a lot of my tech workers and my tech friends, and yeah, they make 6 figures, and most of them make multiple 6 figures. They're one bad day away from getting laid off, and unemployment's not going to help somebody that's making that income, right? And what happens in a recession is you're going to see length of time on unemployment go up, right? I don't know that unemployment rate moves spectacularly, but duration might move spectacularly, which is going to hurt. It certainly hurt my family back in the 80s. I remember that my old man was unemployed for 11 months. That was not fun. And it could happen again if that bad day happens. But that's why, I think there's a lot of people that should think about a plan B. I think there's more people that should think about a service business that they could acquire. They could plan to put in a manager, right? Whatever that's called, a GM or whatever it's called. So you're managing the manager. And then if you get one of those notices, bingo, bango, you're the general manager. And if you don't, then you let it grow and you have something in 5 to 10 years. Cause that's just the game that we're playing. If you only have your W-2, even if it's a high W-2, that's a one-legged stool and they're not very stable.
I agree 100%. I don't know. I mean, maybe because I've been self-employed my whole life that I just have it. I love the fact that my destiny is at my own hands. I like that. Like and I understand security if you have young children and like you need that income coming in. But I really think about like what I do and how hard I work. But I look at it like I'm building legacy for not only myself, but my son, my wife, to be able to take care of my parents when they get old and they need some financial help. I want to be able to do that. And I don't want to have to rely on anybody to give me a paycheck. I like the fact that I am the way I am. I like the fact that I've struggled for many years, like ups and downs of business and losing money and making money. And I would just tell people, look, get gritty. It's now the time to get gritty. If you're not where you want to be, you have to push forward. That's all I can say. I mean, some people are fine. They're comfortable. Their lives are good. They have lots of, they have reserves. They have a nice 401k. They're probably never going to be financially stressed, right? They might be content. But if you're sitting there and you're like, well, I don't have nearly enough money that I need to retire at any time soon, and I'm getting older, it's the time to start. Or if you're just graduating college or you're in high school watching this right now, maybe you're the one, you go to trade school and you become a HVAC tech because you can make
if I was in high school again, I don't know that I would go to college. And again, I went to 6 years of college. Again, right now with what's going on, I think the trades are where the future is, right? We have a whole generation, Generation X, my generation. We were told, my opinion, go to school or you're a loser. What that created is there's this huge gap from tradespeople who were baby boomers to now Gen Z, right? Because Gen X and millennials look down on the trades. I think the easiest way to become a millionaire right now at 18 is to go into the trades. That's my opinion.
Okay, that's funny you said that. I was just at a franchise conference here in Vegas before I went to Florida, and one of the franchisors was talking about, and he was showing a picture. I think the kid was 21. He bought a franchise. It was a lower startup cost, maybe 120,000 all in. So he got in with 12 grand out of pocket. And I think he was doing this year, he's going to do $1 million in top line revenue, and he's like 21.
Yeah. Again, I mean, let's just throw this out there. A lot of people that watch my channel are older, so maybe they have kids I mean, that's a worthwhile conversation. Let's just have it right now. I didn't plan for this. It just came to me. You have a kid and you're like, you can go to college. Mom and dad will help you a little bit. Let's call it 50 grand. Or we don't know that college is right for you for whatever reason, right? Your kid. Why don't we help fund acquisition of a franchise? Maybe, you need 12 grand. We'll gift it to you for high school graduation, or I don't know how it works, but maybe that's a worthwhile conversation. I don't know. What do you think?
I think that's exactly what I would be doing. Because I look at myself,
Yeah.
and I tried, I was growing up in the Bay Area. I barely opened books in high school. I just never thought I was a good student. And then I tried to go to university. I tried to go to junior college. I was like, this isn't working for me. I got into business after that. But if I could go back and, like, if I was my dad, for example, and I'm in the same situation, and my son now is in the same, like, hey, what, like, explore your passions and turn those passions into your business. And that might be just going to some kind of trade school or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, do you want to, like, you could start a window cleaning company, right? There's franchise models. And I'm seeing kids on social media. There's a company, I think I forgot the name of it. They're here in Vegas and they're crushing it. And they're young guys. They started from scratch, a painting, a window cleaning company, recurring revenue. Like, you only need about $1,000 in startup costs with the LLC and getting a squeegee, right?
Yeah.
And a business branding. So there's lots of opportunities out there. And I would urge everybody to, like, double down. And even like me, I'm always pushing myself to learn, like, more. I don't know. It's just the way I'm built now. I like that. Like, I'm just like, what can I learn that will enhance my business in my life? What's my next step? And I'll never stop. I'll always be like, I think of the book by Carol Dweck, I think it's called, her name. It's called, what is it? Growth Mind. Or what's Carol Dweck's book? But anyways, the premise of the book is, do you have a closed mind or an open mindset? Right. And I have an open mindset. And so, like, although I thought I wasn't a good student, then I got into it. Now it's like stacking different businesses.
I like it.
And I think I think there's a huge opportunity for people if you just believed in yourself a little bit more. And I don't know how to convey, like, what you need to do. You need to start getting in the right rooms. You need to start going to ORAD events. You need to start doing this stuff. You need to invest in yourself. And everything I do, I go, hey, this is a good investment. Like, I look at money much differently. Like, what am I investing into, and what will that look like? And everything I have done lately has paid dividends. Everything I do, getting in the right rooms with the right people, the business relationships. So just think, if you're out there right now, instead of sitting here and saying, hey, this was a cool episode, they were kind of like talking about the economy, how, AI's disrupting a lot of things, and how vulnerable we might be if, like, what happens if you lost your job and now you're in your 50s and, like, your position is getting taken by 20-year-olds now because they understand how to use technology and things that. So I think we have to be ready, and I would urge everybody to get ready, because I think there's going to be tremendous opportunity. If I was ready in 2008, 9, 10, 11, like you were, like, for example, you were in a different, I got hammered and you were ready, and look what you did. You took 4 rentals and then you got to 14, then you 1031 into 80. And that literally changed your trajectory of your life. You were doing well in your corporate, in your tech sales. You were always an achiever. Like, if I gave you that profile, you're an achiever. You're going to be successful no matter what. But you would have been not nearly as successful as you are today if you didn't double down during that time and invest in yourself and double down and live below your means. And you kept doing that. And now you're, way ahead of the majority of people out there, and you live a life better, and you can travel for a month at a time that you just did. Right. And so if you wouldn't have done that, you'd still be in corporate. You'd still be pissed off at the world. And now you're doing what you love, and you're delivering impact to hundreds of thousands of people. because you believed in yourself at that time.
Yeah. No, when I think about where we're at in the just the vibration, shaky foundation, recession, rolling recession, whatever this is, threat of AI, I just think there's a lot of people that should at least investigate options, because again, there's nothing wrong with going, hey, what might be a solid plan B? And again, you could go into the business model going, hey, I'm going to leverage a GM because, I already work 60 hours a week. Or better yet, I have an 18-year-old kid that for whatever reason, college is not right. Let's see if we can get them started with something. I just think there's a lot of, trades and franchises that might be the right option for folks. So if somebody wanted to reach out to you, ask questions, take figure out what's right for them, how do they do that?
OneRentalMeeting.com. You can see it right on the screen. Let me end this. OneRentalMeeting.com. Let me end this by just telling you a story about yesterday. Somebody got on my calendar, and he had like a normal career. He ended up finding an HVAC business. I didn't look at his financial statement, but pretty much he's maybe got 75, 100 grand liquid.
Okay.
He found a HVAC business that the person was selling. They're retiring. They're paying themselves like 300 grand in salary a year. It's doing like $4 million in top line revenue. Maybe they're between the husband and wife, maybe they're taking 375 in salary. This guy doesn't have that much money, but he was able to find SBA financing, which would cover 90% of the total cost. He was able to find an investor that's going to bring in, like the majority of the $500,000 needed for the equity injection, and they're going to own a small portion of the business. And so with maybe 50 grand out of pocket, this guy just is buying a $4 million a year top line business. So there's a lot out there, and this is a game changer. And I just was on somebody's podcast, and he helps people find online businesses, and he's working with people that are have 100 grand and to invest in utilizing SBA financing, and then he's finding them different e-com or online businesses that are very established, and they're replacing people's salary. So it's very doable. And we've talked about the guy with 12 grand started a painting franchise. So there's no excuses. And you can also do vending where you can spend an hour per week per machine. So there's something for everybody. And I think that's what we're really conveying in this message. And in times of uncertainty are times when you have to believe in yourself and double down and go for it.
OneRentalMeeting.com, folks. OneRentalMeeting.com. Take care, Bo.
Thank you.